Welcome to another episode of Hiring and Empowering Solutions podcast. My name is Molly McGrath, and I am the founder of this office altering podcast. I'm so excited for my guest today. Hello, Moshe. Thank you for being here.
Hi, Molly. Thank you so much for having me. It is my absolute pleasure to be on your podcast. I have to tell you, I'm going to jump right in. I'm a podcaster myself, so I'm going to hog the mic. But you were one of the first people that I interviewed that the conversation we had has just stuck with me. And my podcast launched in the beginning of 2019. So we're talking about, a year and a half later. And or maybe we're closing out on 2 years. Well,
I know.
more than a year and a half later. But I really love what you do with, leading a team to be entrepreneurs, for the entrepreneur. And that message is something that I repeat to my clients and, really resonated with me. So for those who listen to you, they already know how amazing you are, but really pay attention to, to that messaging, because that's how good teams are built. So many people struggle with trying to figure out their staffing. And one of the things that I have been embracing lately is alternative staffing arrangements, where you don't necessarily have to hire somebody for a full-time position and then try to figure out how to fill their plate. There's so many places where you can get virtual assistants and virtual paralegal services and even contract attorneys, that it really changes the name of the game when it comes to staffing. But you don't want to give up on that, building a team just because you're piecemealing your staff for very specific things that you need them for. And I think that more than ever, we need to figure out how to understand that process and implement it with everybody we bring on, no matter how many hours they work or what hat they're wearing.
Oh, thank you for that. I do. I remember when I was on your podcast, and I'm like, I got to have you on my podcast. And then I was just getting ready to launch my podcast. Well, I think you were one of my first guests as well. And what I love most, and wow, this is a total full circle moment, because I remember after we got done podcasting and we stopped the recording, and you said to me, hey, I want to tell you about this idea around this summit I'm going to do. And we talked about it, right? And we're talking, you're like, yeah, I'm talking to Allison Williams. You named some other people, yada, yada, yada. And then next thing I know, like it seemed like hours later, you send me the whole agenda. And I'm like, oh my God, like he's not messing around.
I think I don't think it was hours later, but we did work quickly, and in 2019, in December of 2019, we hosted the very first Law Firm Growth Summit, and it really was a smashing success. We had over 2,300 law firm owners there. We had a live Q&A session we ran at night that ran for 2 hours. And I think we had to shut it down just because the speakers were like falling asleep on the call. And I had to be like, all right, it's time to go to bed. Tomorrow's another day. But people just were so engaged with those conversations. And it was a great experience to be able to provide something in a different way than was being presented up until now. And what I did was I wanted to create greater access to the information in a format that made sense for business owners, not for law firm owners, not just for attorneys. And so many conferences out there. First of all, you got to go to them in person, and then on top of that, they throw in a few sessions here and there that have to do with running your business, but they're not focused on the business of running a law firm. And there's just no place for somebody to go to get that information. So hence the Law Firm Growth Summit was born, but then COVID happened. And all in-person conferences went virtual, and they all started using the same model we had, which was, we had pre-recorded sessions that we delivered during the day, and people are tired of that. And they're tired of 3 days or 4 days or 5 days of webinars, sitting behind the screen and just watching somebody talk at you with no interaction back and forth. And the other piece of feedback that I got is people are tired of leaving these events with a to-do list a mile long that they're never going to get to. We're
Mhm.
so time constrained as it is. It's so hard for us to block out the time to go to the event. But then when we come back, we have to like catch up and hit the ground running with what the work that we left behind, that by a week later, we already forgot what our great intentions were during that event and learning those things. So I set out on a mission to make our next event something that addressed all those issues. And what we decided to do is create an in-person event virtually. So essentially, we have everything that you could possibly have had at an in-person event, including the ability to walk into people in the hallway and have conversations. So we invested in a platform where you can literally see the list of attendees, and you can call somebody right there in the platform on a video chat or text them, and you can also invite them to join you at a specific time. So you can see somebody, you're in a main stage session and you see that you have a break at 11 o'clock, and you see a name of somebody that you the last time you saw them was at this conference 3 years ago, you want to reconnect. You can send them an invite to join you at 11 o'clock, and you can have up to 5 people in that conversation. So it's really, really neat what we're putting together. Besides for the amazing content and amazing speakers, it's the
Mhm.
experience that we're trying to create. Um, the other really cool thing that we're doing is this problem with leaving with all these things to do. What we decided to do is create hands-on workshops. So our speakers are, besides for the main stage presentations where you're getting great information, we're also having these breakout sessions where you can choose the topic that makes the most sense for you, and you can join that, and it's a workshop style format. And when you leave, you're leaving with something created. So whether it's a system, a process, or it's a specific software that you're learning to use or implement. For example, one of our friends, Geet Sakalakis, he
Oh, he's
runs
amazing.
an amazing marketing agency, really for higher level law firms that are marketing at the next level. He's doing a workshop to walk you through how to create your marketing dashboard so you can actually measure the results of your efforts in whatever you're doing with your marketing. And you're literally going to go into the software. I'm assuming it's Google that he's using. You're going to go into Google and you're going to set up your analytics and set up your reporting in a way that it makes sense. And he's going to explain to you how that works. How awesome is that you're going to leave with that already created, so that you can just go back to work and have this to implement when you get there. So I'm super excited about it. It's February 9th to 11th, and we're hoping to welcome more than the 2,300 we welcomed last time. But it's not about the quantity; it's about the quality. And I can keep talking. I mean, we have
Yeah.
3 keynote speakers that we brought in that I'm super excited about. One of them is Mike Michalowicz, author of Profit First. I keep this book right here on my shelf. Profit First has been instrumental for my clients in solving their cash flow issues within their business. And he's going to come and he's going to do a full 1 hour session with an audience Q&A that will go through and outline how to solve the cash flow issue, cash management issue in your business. We have Kevin Harrington, who's one of the original sharks from the show Shark Tank. And he's going to be talking about how to be a person of influence. We all know that you get clients and you get referrals by being well known. So how do you become well known? He's going to be talking to us about that. And he knows, I mean, he's a person who's very well known, and he knows
Mm.
how to do that. And we also have David Neagle, who has a coaching company, Life Is Now. He's a very well-known business coach, and he works primarily with attorneys. I understand that like more than 50% of his coaching business is
Oh, wow.
lawyers. And he's going to be doing a talk on how to make your monthly income, your annual income, your monthly income. I keep messing
Mm.
that one up. How to make your annual income your monthly income. And when they pitched that topic to me, I was like, I love it. I love it. I want to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So, I'm super excited about the talent that we have, the opportunity to connect. I mean, we're all sick and tired of being in our homes and not being able to go out and socialize with people. this is as close as we're going to get right now to be able to do that. And with a circle of people that you're normally used to connecting with at these events, but you can't do that right now. So creating those opportunities is really exciting.
And look what a pioneer. So first of all, a few things I want to say. Profit First, go back and I'll put in the show notes what episode it was, but I interviewed Moshe on that very topic. That's the name of the episode way back when, almost 2 years ago, where we talked about Profit First. And so, and just real quick, why don't you give us your elevator pitch and tell our listeners what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So Profit First is a cash management system, and it solves this problem. When you wake up in the morning, do you log into your business bank account to check how you're doing, or do you log into your QuickBooks to see your P&L to see how you're doing? I know most business owners are logging into their bank account to
Yep.
see, hey, where's my crisis, or how well are we doing, right? But the reality is your bank account does not tell you the whole story. It doesn't tell you whether you have a tax bill that's coming due. It doesn't tell you whether you have outstanding checks that haven't cleared. It doesn't tell you that your payroll is 3 days away and you're going to have to pay it. So looking at your bank account is a false sense of security, because the reality is that the money that's there may not even be yours. And if you think it is yours, you're going to make poor decisions about where to spend it when you didn't have it to spend in the first place. We call this bank balance accounting. And it's not an official term. That's Mike's term. So, but bank balance accounting is a very inefficient and very poor way to run your business. And that's why what ends up happening is that the business owner doesn't pay themselves, because by the time that they get around to paying themselves, they've spent it on everything else, because they've been making their decisions based on what they saw in the bank account. So now when the tax bill comes due, you're spending the first 3 months of the year paying that, because you didn't realize that you should have been putting that money away all year long. When you see that you have $20,000 in the bank, you might buy that new computer or that fancy copier for your office, not realizing that you really haven't paid yourself in 3 months, and that $20,000 should be going to you. So what his system is very simply grandma's envelope system for budgeting, but with bank accounts for your business. And it's really simply 5 bank accounts is how you start. The first one is where all the money that comes in goes to. But that doesn't, other than it being a funnel for where the money goes, it doesn't do anything else. That's your revenue account, where the revenue comes in. From there, it goes to your operating expenses, your profit, your owner's pay, and your tax accounts. So if you take those 4 accounts and you have this predetermined percentage of how much of every dollar is going to go into each of these accounts, when that money comes in, you put it into those accounts. You never touch the tax account. You only touch the profit account once a quarter, and the owner's pay, that's your paycheck. And then the operating expense is where you're looking to make those business decisions from. And the crazy thing is that when you read the book, if you're at less than $250,000 in revenue, your operating expenses in a healthy business should be no more than 30%. You know, the average law firm owner that I come across, their operating expenses are 90%.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not
90%,
surprised.
30%, 90%. So every dollar that comes in, you should be spending 30 cents, and instead you're spending 90 cents. So I mean, the power is incredible to be able to solve that problem, because suddenly you're taking home a 6-figure paycheck on a $250,000 business, where before you felt what I love this terminology, entrepreneurial poverty.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I'll put in the show notes for you to go back and listen. Thank you for that introduction. I want to hit it, and I want to talk about the Law Firm Growth Summit. I'm going to have a link here, the lawfirmgrowthsummit.com, and empower. That is my unique link. It's going to be there for you to go ahead and to register and grab your seat. It's so amazing as you were talking. So 2019, I remember those late nights when people are falling asleep. Then 2020, COVID hits, right? You have this event, and oh my goodness, are you just a trailblazer? Like, I already had it all set up. I will never ever forget, because everyone, the world's in widespread panic, and that event Moshe, I have to tell you, was really life altering for me, even. It was so great to be connected with other professionals. I met so many of the speakers there that I still call my very near and dear friends. And I learned so much from all the speakers, plus all the attendees that were there, well over 2,000 law firms and people that were interacting and messaging in the chat and things of that nature, following up with me afterwards. I can tell you as a speaker, it was so refreshing to be able to help and serve people at the end of the day. And that was just so perfectly orchestrated and positioned for the perfect time. And now here we are, 2021. Who in the world thought we'd still be sitting where we are now? And it's February, 11 months into the pandemic. And now you have Law Firm Growth Summit 2021, which I'm so excited because of you. You've connected me with so many different speakers, but I'm on the team, hiring and team empowerment track, and I get to speak with Brett Tremblay from Get Staffed Up. I've had him on my podcast as well. Jacqueline Foster, outsourced paralegal services. Who I think Jacqueline sent me a card. She's like, "You're my biggest referral source." I'm like, I'm so happy that I get to be that person for you. She's phenomenal, like, which I love because I guess in some worlds you could be like, oh, we're competitors. The three of us do not see that at all. We help each other out constantly. I've had both Jacqueline and Brett on my podcast. I've been on Brett's podcast, and just so excited to lock arms with not even the service and the messaging that we get to give to law firms. Over 3,000 law firms. There's over 30 speakers plus keynote speakers in 3 days. You've blown the doors off of technology and how people can chat and connect, and you've taken it to a whole new level. But I'm just so honored. We're promoting it even yesterday on LinkedIn. Jacqueline put a post on and then tagged me, and then a few hours later I put a post, and then Brett's commenting on it, and then Gee's, it's just so exciting. I feel like a celebrity. I really feel like a celebrity, and I'm so excited to really serve these law firms in a new way, right? And so many of us have staffing, many of us are coaches, many of us could have, in the world wide web, could see us as competitors, and not one speaker there sees it that way.
Yeah, and you know what? What's very interesting is that there are people in the industry who like to keep things close to the chest. They don't play nice with others, and you won't find them at my event, because I come from a place of love. I mean, one of my 5 core values in my business is love everyone. My team will tell you, because every time we have a team meeting, we review our 5 core values. And I want to always be of service to others. I don't know. Do you know that I'm a paramedic, Molly?
No, what? You're just
Yeah.
telling me
So
this now?
yeah, when I was 18, I joined the local ambulance squad and became an emergency medical technician. And then when I went through my divorce in 2006, I realized I was going to have a lot of evenings without my kids. And what was I going to do? I did not want to end up in the bar, wallowing in my own pity. So I decided to up level my game and become a paramedic. It was a 2,000-hour program that I did while working a full-time job. But I've been a paramedic ever since, and it's a hobby of mine. It's not a full-time living that I do, but I work the truck once a week or so. But it's just another place that I can give back to others, that I can serve others. And I think that there's no such thing as competition. And I try to teach that to my clients. So, the folks listening to this, law firm owners, you don't have competition.
Mm-mm.
That lawyer down the block is not your competitor. We tend to think that there's a fixed pie, and we have to try to get the biggest piece of the slice of that pie. The truth is that pie can be expanded. It can be contracted. You have full control over who is in your target market. And you can decide who that is and who it isn't. And you're not competing against somebody else. All you're doing is you got to figure out who you resonate with, who you serve, who's the right person to work with you. And when you get clear on that, they're going to get attracted to you like a magnet, and it's not going to be a competition. Are they going to use somebody else? Are they going to use me? They're going to come to use you because they know they want to work with you. And that's the way that you want to look at your business. One of the purposes of this event is to help our constituents, to help our attendees to navigate the new normal in law. And one of the things that somebody told me this, and I don't know who it was. I got to go back in my video archives to see which phone call that I had, that the person said 2025 came 5 years early for the legal industry. And it's
Oh,
so true, because the pandemic accelerated this massive shift to use of technology, to remote work, that was such an odd, um, such a far-reaching eventual reality for the legal industry, because so much of it is tied to the court. So much is tied to meeting clients in person and adversary parties, so that everyone has to meet together for hearings and things like that. That legal was just never thought of as something that could happen remotely,
no, no.
and therefore the industry wouldn't embrace that possibility. And because they wouldn't embrace remote work, they wouldn't embrace remote staffing, they wouldn't embrace technology taking the place of people for certain things. And what happened is that we just kind of got shoved into this situation where all of a sudden we managed to figure out how to practice law in this environment. And now a whole new world of opportunity has opened up to us. And one of the stories I like to share is the story of Netflix and Blockbuster. Do you
Mm.
remember Blockbuster?
Yes, I do.
So do I, right? We used to go there and rent movies. But this little company, Netflix, came along with this great idea. We're going to do this mail-in DVD service that you can hold on to the DVD as long as you want. And when you send it back, you get the next one. And you can pay for one at a time, two at a time, or three at a time. That was their business model. Then they also said, oh, by the way, we're going to add this free thing, streaming some videos. We don't have much content up here, but maybe if you have a fast enough internet connection, you can watch a full movie without it buffering and too long, that you can enjoy the experience, right? The CEO of Blockbuster went to his board of directors and said, look at this little company and what they're doing. It is genius. We need to adopt this. We are way bigger than them. If we act now, we can win in this market. And the board of directors said, no way, no how. Do you know why?
No, I don't.
Because they did not want to give up on 13% of the revenue stream, which was collected in late fees. 13% of their revenue came from late fees, and they did not want to give up on 13% of their revenue by embracing this new model. Now, the reason I share that story is because Blockbuster is not around anymore. That one decision sealed the fate for that company, that they were not willing to embrace the future, and they were going to dig their heels in and stick with the here and now and the model that worked today. And that was the end of their business. I want to help lawyers be relevant tomorrow. I want to help lawyers be the law firm of the future, the law firm that's going to be relevant 5-10 years from now. And that is going to require you to embrace where legal is heading. It's going to require you to embrace alternative fee arrangements. It's going to require you to embrace remote staffing arrangements. It's going to require you to embrace alternative payment solutions. It's going to require you to embrace all new technologies that can automate things that were done manually before. And the only way to make that make sense in your business is to move away from the hourly billing model for those pieces of the business. So you're going to have to rethink how you make money. You're going to have to rethink the profitable mathematical equation for your business. And that's going to require you to take a holistic view of the business. And what we're going to do is, over 3 days, we're going to take you on a journey of walking through exactly how you need to address every one of these pieces: your marketing, your sales, your team development, your business financials and business plan all together, and your technology and your automation. We're covering all of those areas in 3 days. When you leave, you will have a roadmap of exactly what you need to do to be relevant tomorrow.
And I can tell you, I mean, I love what you kept saying. You're going to have to rethink. You're going to have to rethink. And attorneys, most are very, very high fact finders, and they will think themselves right out of a practice. So what that means is that you're going to not only have to rethink, but you're going to have to react, and you're going to have to respond, and you're going to have to take action. I can tell you, I can think of probably 5 different law firms. And last year, so what was it, 10 months ago at the Law Firm Growth Summit, and some of the questions that they asked, we did open Q&A, people getting drive-by coaching. People were so interactive. They were vulnerable, they were real, they were raw, they were asking questions. We didn't really know what the pandemic was. We thought it was like, just a 2-week thing, or we didn't even know that. We're like, oh, it wasn't as devastational that we had realized at that point. But I'm thinking of a good small handful of law firm owners, attorneys that had these questions. They showed up, they were clear, they got clarity, but guess what? They took action, and seeing their practices unfold and explode in a controlled growth way for them over the past year. I mean, I'm just blown away thinking of some of these names right now and what they've done in 10 months from the Law Firm Growth Summit. I remember their precise questions. I remember their precise struggles. And I remember the answers that they got from the panel and taking action. And it just warms my heart so much. So this event is absolutely positively talking about, what does the firm of the future look like? And it's definitely an event that you should be attending, even if you're scared to death of some of the direction that you're going to get and how to take action, because attorneys do get overwhelmed, and we know that, and we appreciate that. And to your point, Moshe, we don't want you walking away with 4 legal pads full of notes of things that are just going to overwhelm you, or that you're going to use as a weapon every time you see them of, oh, that's another thing I can't implement. That's not the essence of this event. And it wasn't, and it hasn't been since 2019, because I can tell you firsthand of being at those events, witnessing and seeing thousands of law firms that have gotten to action. So when it comes to rethinking, it's also, you have to start doing and taking action. So you're get a lot of events, you'll get information, you'll get a bunch of great tips and techniques and what have you. And what I love about the Law Firm Growth Summit, it's 100% all about that. It is about growth. It is about showing up. It is about pivoting. It is about what I love about it, it's really where law and business meet, law, business, and technology meet. And if you are not abreast on the latest technologies, in fact, I'm going to put a link in here too for your podcast to listen to about what's it, Clubhouse on Facebook. Like, you have to. It's not an option. It's not an option, right?
Absolutely. You know what? Um, People ask me like, well, how did you join Clubhouse? 3 days later, you record a podcast episode
Yeah.
about it. Then you throw together a course that people can take for free on how to use it to grow their law firm. Like where does that come from? And the reality is that you said it. I've learned, I mean, I work with a business coach, and one of the things that I've learned is that action creates clarity. And
Mm,
um, the only reason we don't take action and we don't act on something and do something about it is because we're afraid of what might happen if we fail. But what happens is by not taking the action, you've failed already. So why not take the action and roll the dice, and maybe you'll succeed or maybe you'll fail, but at least you're not guaranteeing your failure. So
mm.
I
Wow.
so I approach everything with, let me try this, let me see this, let me do it, and let me see if it works. I mean, even the Law Firm Growth Summit, it's a roll of the dice. It's a massive investment to put this on, and I have to just hope that in the last 2 weeks before the event, enough people buy tickets that I make my money back. Right? It's doing something on a wing and a prayer, but having a belief in the idea and seeing it through to the end, to be able to to produce it, to deliver it, to, and if it's your law firm services, if it's a certain marketing you're trying to try, or you want to try a piece of technology, take it for a spin. try it, give it a really, really good shot, and then approach it from the eyes of a scientist, right? This is an experiment. And it takes, somebody who produces a drug that is successful, it takes thousands of iterations of that drug that are unsuccessful before they hit the right one, right? Why do
Yeah.
we think that we're going to try something and on day one, we're going to hit a home run? When you look at a successful law firm owner, you look at a successful business owner, you look at a coach, you look at somebody you look up to, and you say, oh my gosh, they came out of nowhere. They were an overnight success. But then if you ask them, you suddenly find out that they were an overnight success 10 years or 20 years in the making.
Yes.
And the reality is that it doesn't have to be that slow for you. The main reason why it takes people so long to get to that level of success is because they didn't take consistent action from day one. If you look at the people who have, what appears to be rapid success, like they start their law firm and then 3 years later, they're like, 4 attorneys and 3 paralegals, and they got more business than they know what to do with. The chances are that they already came with a book of business before they started, but that's a different conversation. But if you look at their actions, their activities, you'll see that they're not afraid to take the next step. And that's what separates the men from the boys. That's what separates the people from,
Yeah.
the ones who achieve success fast versus the ones who take the slow road. So I love what you said, that you need to take action, because that's really, if you encapsulate it, that is exactly what is needed for somebody to succeed. And I love everything that you said about the summit. I want to just share with you one testimonial that we have on the website, came from an attorney by the name of Daniel Campen. And I really love how vulnerable and open he was willing to be with us. But he said, the Law Firm Growth Summit was a great experience for me last year. And I had one of those aha moments during a Q&A session. It gave me some clarity on what I needed to do going into 2020, having no idea how the world was going to change. If I had not run into the Law Firm Growth Summit last year and started making progress on those things in January, my law firm would not have survived. Instead, I thrived and made 2020 my best year. And there's another attorney that I don't have in front of me, that basically said she was discussing with her husband about whether she should close her doors.
Yeah.
And from some of the stuff that she got from the Q&As and from the sessions that she attended, she decided to give it another go. And now she just told me that in this month, she had more business this month than she had the entire first quarter last year. So
And yeah, I can't tell
it's
you how many.
incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't tell you how many people have told me that 2020 was their best year. And now thank you for sharing those testimonials, truly, because I'm thinking back to the people that have told me that they were at the Law Firm Growth Summit. And I mean, gosh, just showing up and feeling the fear and doing it anyways and showing up. Do you think any attorney of those 2,000 plus law firms, Moshe, that were at that law firm summit had any idea what 2020 was going to look like for them?
No, they had no idea. Look, nobody has any idea what 2021 is going to look like for them.
Right.
We don't know our destiny. We don't know our future, but we do know what our current pain points are, what our current struggles are. And I guarantee you, if you're, listening to this podcast, there are 2 struggles that every law firm owner has. And no matter how successful you are, you're always looking to get even better at them. The one is money, and the second is time.
Yep.
And if you're living and breathing, you have those 2 challenges. Why? Because they're both finite resources. No matter how much you have, there won't be enough of it. But we can help you figure out how to be strategic in how you use that time and how you use that money so that you can have the things that you want. So you can spend the time to be with your family when you want to be with them. So you can spend time doing the hobby that you want to do. So you can socialize with people in a way that you've never done before. You can have enough money to buy the boat, buy the second house, all of that. I was talking to somebody earlier today, and he said, I never realized how poor attorneys were. I always thought they were rich. I always thought they always had money. And the truth is that there are some attorneys who have money, but there are plenty who don't. And that's why I love the Profit First tagline of eradicating entrepreneurial poverty, because it encapsulates, it's not just attorneys, it's all entrepreneurs. There is a plague of poverty when it comes to entrepreneurs, and it's because of just not taking the right steps. And nobody has the perfect answer for you, but you need the inputs. You need the pieces of information to put the puzzle together. If you do a 500 piece puzzle and one piece is missing, you don't have the full picture.
Right.
So our aim is to take the pieces of the puzzle and arrange them for you so that you can create your picture. And that's why I love gathering 30, 35 speakers, people from all different areas of expertise to give you all the missing pieces. I don't claim to have all the answers. I think I do, but I don't claim to have them all. Right. I mean, I have a mug that my kids got me, something along the lines of who needs Google when you have my dad, or something like that. Right.
Aw.
But so yes, a dad knows everything is what his children believe. But the reality is that we don't know everything. And none of the 35 speakers that are speaking, not the keynotes who are really, really, doing this every single day, and not the people who are lawyers and helping other lawyers, or they're marketers and they're helping lawyers. None of us have every single answer to every single problem that you have. But I guarantee you that all 35 together really do have the answer for you. And it's your job to show up and to take the pieces that are most important and figure out what those are and run with them. And I'll tell you one last thing, Molly. The price of admission, right now it's $97 for an all access pass. It's $497 for a VIP. The VIP gives you the recordings. It gives you a physical swag bag, some nice little extras. But $97, there's people who are like, oh, $97, that's too much. I'm not gonna invest $97, right? Yes, there are. And the sad thing is that it's so short-sighted, because if you believe for 1 second that these 3 days might be able to change the script for you, how many thousands of times can I get you that $97 back?
Oh my goodness. I would even say I would change might to absolutely will. I mean, you have 2 law firm growth summits from 2019 and 2020 under your belt, and 100%. Like Moshe said, your job is to show up. And if you have a mindset that's, I'm even floored to hear that attorneys would say $97. Are you kidding me? If you have a mindset of that's too much, or you even have a mindset of where you're questioning what you're going to pay for the investment of your growth, it's not about what the fee is. What's the cost of not doing it, of not investing in your practice? So if you're constantly, ripping apart the fee of investing into education, into your growth, into being a business owner, into being cutting edge, and if that's a mindset that you have, and that's how you're operating your business, then you might want to consider why you're getting the results you're getting.
Very well said, Molly. I couldn't have said it any better. We could drop the mic and walk away from this interview, because it's very true. And we have all heard the terminology penny wise, pound foolish. And I don't want to sit on this point for too long, but I mean, just think of one session, turning your monthly income, your annual income, into your monthly income, right? I mean, if you can just attend that one session,
right,
and walk away with something that is going to literally make that happen, I sure hope that you're making more than $97 a year.
Yeah.
And we're going to turn that, we're going to turn that into your monthly income, so, if you're making $100,000 now, how would you like to make that in a month?
Yeah.
It's possible.
It is possible.
It's possible. All you got to do is show up for 3 days, February 9th to 11th. So,
all right. That's a good stopping point for us. We're going to have that. Thank you, Moshe, so much for being my guest today. Number 1. For number 2, for just even, I mean, your prime example of having an idea and deploying it and taking that risk and putting it out there, and from a place of service. I remember my very first phone call with you. You're like, you asked me, what do you think? But really, you didn't even care what I thought a little bit, because you you were so passionate and convinced of it. I mean, before the pandemic even happened, you're like, this is the way for the future. This is how people are going to learn. It was just, will never forget that phone call. And thank you. Thank you for taking your idea and turning it into a reality, and including all of us, the 35 plus speakers that are going to be there, and giving us a platform, giving a unified platform for all of us to lock arms and to come together to transform the future of law firms.
I love it, Molly. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
having me. And I really look forward to seeing every single one of your listeners at the Law Firm Growth Summit, February 9th to the 11th.
Absolutely. We're going to have it in the show links. I want you to use my link, because guess what? I'm going to be offering for all of you that use my link and you register. I'm going to be paying attention. I'm going to know who did and who didn't. For those of you that do register, I'm going to give you a complimentary 1-hour coaching session after the event. But you got to register and you have to show up. 90% of life is showing up. That used to be the statement. I would say now it's like 98% of life is showing up, especially during these very, very uncertain times. So lawfirmgrowthsummit.com, empower. It's going to be in the show link. Yeah.
/empower.
/empower. Thank you. All right, Moshe, I can't wait to get
Awesome.
on stage with you as always. Thank you.
Take care, Molly.
All right.